Metals tend to lose electrons, and in doing so, they lose the entire valence shell. Lithium, after losing its valence electron, becomes an ion with the charge of +1. The radius of the ion is smaller than the radius of the atom because it's one less electron shell. Same happens to sodium and potassium as they become ions. They decrease in size in comparison to their original atoms. Aluminum has 3 valence electrons, but it will lose all 3 of them in one go, becoming an ion with a charge of +3 and a smaller radius compared to the original atom. Calcium becomes ion with a charge of +2 and also one shell less than an original atom. Positively charged ions are smaller compared to the atoms from which they were created because they have one less shell of electrons. Nonmetals tend to gain electrons and add them to their valence shell. Here are the elements of the group 17. They are one electron short from the full octet, so they will gain one electron and become ions with a charge of -1. While there is no additional shells in the ions compared to the original atoms, the ionic radius will be bigger than the radius of the atoms. In the ions, there are more electrons than protons in the nucleus, which makes the nucleus grip on electrons to be weaker. Its power to attract electrons is stretched thin, so to speak, and ions end up being bigger than the atoms. The story repeats itself in other nonmetals as well. Here's oxygen adding 2 electrons to its valence shell, phosphorus adding 3, and iodine adding 1 electron. All negatively charged ions are bigger than the atoms from which they were formed.